So you've created your content type and added fields to it. But somehow when you add nodes of that content type, it doesn't quite look right. I'll show you with that product node that we created. We go up to Content and filter by the product type. And there it is. Now let's take a look. As you can see, we have the SKU here, and then we have the number below it. We don't really need a space in the number since it's a straight-ahead 5-digit number. The price doesn't have to be on its own line, and we really don't need a label that says Product Photo. Also, the photo is larger than I'd like, but we'll come back and fix that later in another video. For right now, what we want to do is go in and edit this content type. That'll make all of the display changes that we want, and it'll make them consistently throughout the site. To do that, go up to Structure, and then Content Types. The one we're going to change is Product, and instead of clicking Manage Fields, we actually click Manage Display. Before we start changing all of these things, I want to point out the two buttons up here, Default and Teaser. Essentially, when we change Default, that changes the full node view that we were just looking at. You can also change the way that this content type appears in different contexts. For example, the teaser, or as you see down here, RSS and searches and things like that. We'll talk more about that in the video about customizing field display by context. For right now, we're just going to go with the default. We can change the basic settings on all 4 fields. And remember that the product description is what we renamed the body field back in the video on adding fields to content types. Notice that you have additional options here, as you can see from these widgets, for changing the 3 fields that we later added, the SKU, the price, and the product photo. But we'll start with the basic settings. For the product description, I didn't see anything that I wanted to change, so I'll leave it as it is. For the price and the SKU, I'm going to make the label inline. That'll keep it from appearing on a different line from the actual information. And in its format, I'll leave it as it is, but I'll show you what the choices are. You can have it either as the default, which if there's HTML in it will show up with the HTML styling, or you can strip out all of the HTML so it's just plain text. Or you can actually hide the value that's in that field. But we'll leave them as they are. Now let's go back and take a look at what that looks like after I click Save. And then I close the overlay so I can see the node behind it. And as you see, they're now in line. Now we still do have this product photo which I meant to remove, so let's go back, Content Types, Product, and Manage Display. Easy enough to do, just hide that label. Now let's make some of those additional changes that are specific to the field type. For the SKU, I'll click on the widget here, and I don't really want a thousands marker at all. I'm just going to say none, and that should bring it all together. The rest looks good, so I say Update. It gives me immediate feedback. For the price, I'm going to add a comma for the thousands. Not that any of our olive oil costs over $1,000, but just in case we decide to sell a 55-gallon drum of it, we want it to say comma. And Update. Then we go to the photo, which has some unusual options available to it. First of all, we can have it link to whatever we want. We could permit users to click it and then just see the file. That would be all that's on their screen. Or go directly to that node. I tend to like to have pictures linked to nodes because people are used to clicking on pictures and going to further information. So I'll change that to content. Image style lets us change the size of that graphic, and you remember I right now have it going to the original image, which is bigger than I really want. I'm going to try medium and see what that looks like for now, and I think it'll be okay, but if you want more information about these image styles and how you can add your own, see the video a little bit later about modifying image styles. For now though, I'll just click Update and Save. Let's go back and see what that looks like. I close the administrative overlay, the screen redraws, and pretty good. We have the SKU showing no comma in there, the price showing the $sign before it, everything's in line. The picture is a little bit small, but again, we'll change that a little bit later on in the course. This gives you a pretty quick overview of ways you can change field display. And again, none of these were available in Drupal 6. Back then, you had to hack at the theme's template files to make such changes, which meant having a pretty solid understanding of the CSS and PHP languages. So the things you see here are just one more thing to thank Drupal 7's developers for, and that will make Drupal a much stronger content management system in the future.